You guys ready to do a little research with an intellectual like me, one Sir Grove? I've got a topic for you. Stewardship versus custodian. What is a steward in relation to or versus a custodian? You're probably thinking, Grove, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm probably thinking, yo, what the fuck are you not thinking about? So check it out, man. In the past few weeks, I've been thinking about this concept of how humans on this planet are stewards and custodians of this planet, or are supposed to be, and or are supposed to be. Again, some of you may be thinking, yo, Grove, no, what the fuck are you really, like, stewards and custodians of this planet? What exactly does that mean? Those who are intellectual, like me, will be thinking, perhaps thinking, hey, yeah, right, I've had that notion too. Like, I've thought that as well. So as I've been like kicking around these thoughts, man, this notion, these ideas, philosophizing as philosophizers and philosophers do, I decided to finally Google it. I was like, you know what, man, let me go to Google and just see what the fuck Google has to say. Let me just look into the crystal ball and query the information. Sure enough, it comes right the fuck up. So I'm like, oh, whoa, I'm not the only person who's thought about this, which I knew I had not been and haven't been the only person to consider contemplate such. Interestingly, in terms of humans living in a multiverse being analogous to a computer system, as some have posited and theorized, hypothesized. Again, interestingly, when you Google steward versus custodian, because a lot of people, in terms of an argument to this notion, would say, oh, well, dude, what are you talking about? Like, you mean like a steward, like of a plane, or like a custodian of like a janitor of like a school? And it's like, no, motherfucker, that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about that exactly. We're talking about the larger idea, concept of what a custodian means outside the scope of just being a custodian of a fucking restroom, dude, in like an institution like a school, for example. All right, steward on a plane. We're talking about outside that, bigger than that, okay? Gotta think bigger, man. Think outside the motherfucking goddamn box. So, I was thinking, and I've been thinking, humans on this planet, given that it's my knowledge, belief that humans were seeded on this planet by advanced extraterrestrial beings, that does not discount God. That's another thing, and this isn't a tangent, but to add to this analysis, there have been in history people who have said, I'm totally against the intelligent design theory and theorists because they negate God by saying that the universe is a computer program in some regard, sorts, respects, and they say that God doesn't exist. I haven't heard of an intelligent design theorist saying that God doesn't exist. People make up shit, man, and that is what some people have said, is that intelligent design theory negates God. How the fuck does it negate God? It's not what intelligent design theory says. Intelligent design theory doesn't say there isn't a God. It's not what the fuck it says, man. And so, in terms of aliens, advanced extraterrestrial beings, EBEs, extraterrestrial biological entities, whatever you want to call them, man, visitors, aliens, aliens, however you want to frame it. If you are talking about aliens, and we're having a discussion, you and I, we're having a discussion about aliens, or anyone's talking about aliens, and the theory that aliens seeded the earth, or a group of aliens, that doesn't mean that there isn't a God. That supposes that there is a God who created advanced beings, different races, different beings, different groups of beings, and aliens off world to this world in relation, they happen to have some type of dominion, some type of advanced technology, and seeded this planet. So does that mean that God didn't create humans? It does not mean God did not create humans. God gave beings the ability to create beings, and God created, therefore, all beings by way of giving beings the ability to create other beings. So if one being creates another being, in other words, if we humans, because we're supposedly humans, if we humans or humanoids create AI, for example, humanoid, robotic looking, humanoid, synthetic, biological, like cyborg, like beings, entities. We create those entities. If and when we do, which we are doing that, when those beings think within their AI constructs, apparati, their mechanisms, their underpinnings, their processes, when they process data and they think, well, who created us? And if they're AI and they have to come up with that information themselves because it's not pre-programmed for them to automatically just know, oh, yes, humans programmed us, that is correct, they are our superiors, thus progenitors and our forebears, they created us. If they're left to their own devices in which to surmise that information, if they do arrive at said fact themselves autonomously or semi-autonomously, however one conjectures said notions, if they understand at some point that we humans created them, does that mean that there is no God? No. It means that God created beings that created beings that created beings that created us, and we created beings, i.e. AI, synthetic humanoid like beings. And God was responsible for all of it from the macro to the micro. Get it? So it's pretty fucking simple and pretty crystal clear in my mind. Makes sense to me. So going back to my notion of being on this planet, this rock, stewards and custodians. It's not often that someone, someone in, by the way, thank you for tuning into the show. If you're a fan of the show, 495 appreciates you. So, and that is yours truly and the larger 495 organization. So again, as it were, stewards and custodians of this planet. It is not often that someone in mainstream society, thinking inside the box, says, you know, it really does kind of boil down to us as humans being stewards and custodians of this planet. It is said, nonetheless, despite the fact that the average human being in mainstream society doesn't have that thought often, that we are stewards / custodians, that is, stewards and custodians of this planet Earth, this great planet Earth. There are school children and lecturers and analysts and thinkers, observers, intellectuals who do say we are Earthlings and this is our planet and we are here to cultivate and develop and to grow and to understand, and it's a growth and learning process, and so on and so forth. Despite that, the terms stewards and custodians of the planet, not often used. And I think you and I both know that. That's why the other day, some days ago, going back a week or two or more, I had this idea. Hey man, I know I'm not the first to say this. I heard it somewhere before in space-time, some time ago, however many moons, and but it is true. We are the stewards and custodians of this planet. So then beyond that, I got to thinking to myself, since I know that to be a truth, a deeper truth, reality, what semantically, grammatically, syntactically speaking, in the English lexicon of it all, idiosyncratically, what are the distinctions? What is the distinction between the two words? How did the two words differ? How do they relate? So I decided to fucking Google it once and for all, to look it up. And when I did, again, going back to the analogy of some might even say, simulation theory. Some have postulated real-world matrix, same kind of difference. And so to further differentiate, deconstruct, dissect, analyze, I Googled steward versus custodian. How many fucking people do that on a daily basis and on a regular, ongoing basis occurrence? I'm just gonna go ahead and Google steward versus custodian to find out, to see for myself what the difference is between those two words. Well, I did. I'm one Sir Grove, aka the rap artist known as Dr. Grove, Dr. Grover. And this is what comes up. Boom! Data custodian versus data steward. Simplicable. This is from 19 August 2016. Looks like Simplicable says, quote, data custodian versus data steward. I find that to be interesting, end quote. I find that to be interesting, given everything that I've shared thus far. Especially the fact that some, like Elon Musk and others, great thinkers, brilliant scientists, developers, researchers, analysts, builders, humans, humanoids, have thought among ourselves that perhaps this is some type of simulation. Perhaps it is. And even if it's not, even if it turns out that it is not a simulation per se, the universe can nonetheless be thought of in some way, in some ways, in some regard, as similar to a computer system. So when you think of a computer system with data objects in terms of data and objects that are constructs within data schemes, when we're talking about object-oriented programming virtual worlds, programming computer worlds, programming in the sense of programming itself, just fucking programming, using binary, using data, using zeros and ones, programming within the universe of humans, computers, the multiverse. Lo and behold, this shit comes up. Data custodian versus data steward. Simplicable. Some people are yawning. Like, yawn, Grove, I still don't get it, and I kind of hear what you're saying, or I really didn't understand what you're saying and don't really give a fuck or give a shit. Others are like, yo, this kid is onto something. Wait, hold up. So he's thinking about humans on this planet being stewards, custodians of the planet. Some weeks down the road, he Googles steward versus custodian, and what pops up is almost parallel, is actually parallel 100% to what his notion was and is, that we, us humans, are data objects that within this universe of ours, multiverse, there is this relationship between data objects that are considered stewards of that data set or a data set, and that there are custodians within that data set, these data sets. So there's like two types of data sets. There's the data set of custodian, and then there's the data set of steward. Did I lose you? You fucking not following, man? Someone falling asleep, someone asleep? Who out there actually is on to it with me and has figured it out like, yo, there's something to this shit. Let's keep going down this fucking rabbit hole, which opens up into an infinite amount of rabbit holes, and see where the fuck this shit leads in terms of deeper truth reality. So, it goes on to say here, again, 19 August 2016, data custodian, quote, data custodian versus data steward. Simplicable. This is from Simplicable. Quote, data custodian and data steward play complementary roles in data governance. End quote. Ooh, wow. Let's quote one more. Quote, both are assigned a set of data assets for which they are accountable. End quote. I'm not going to quote any more lines from this site. I've quoted two as a proper scholarly citation. Again, data custodian versus data steward, Simplicable. So if you go to that site, simplicable.com, it comes up right there, posted 19 August 2016, John Spacey. So yo, check it out. What I am saying is that humans on this planet are essentially both stewards and custodians of this planet. That means that we have governance of this planet. Governance of this planet. Which you may argue, some of you out there, okay, Grove, right, yeah, we get it. We're humans. We're on this planet with billions of other species. And somehow, some way, we believe it to be that we, humans, are here to govern the planet. Well, I can also argue in that equation that lions and tigers are here to govern the planet because they serve a purpose too. And so does every insect and bug and critter and creature. Everything is here to govern the planet because it's a machine. It's a biological machine. So, stewards and custodians of this planet. Let's go beyond that a little bit. Let's look at Ahura Mazda. Who was Ahura Mazda? A-H-U-R-A, first name. Last name Mazda. M-A-Z-D-A. That's Alpha, Henry, Uniform, Romeo, Alpha, Ahura. Last name, well, that's first name. Last name, Michael, Alpha, Zulu, Delta, Alpha, Mazda. Ahura Mazda. You might be like, Grove, again, don't give a shit. Don't know who the fuck Ahura Mazda is. I've heard of Ahura. Maybe that like chick, black lady on Star Trek or whatever, that woman, whatever, you know, Ahura. Yeah, got it. Roger that, Grover. But yeah, and then like Mazda, like the car. Yeah, what are you saying, Grover? Grover. What I'm saying is this, man. Ahura Mazda was apparently, based on evidence, he was an alien, came down to Earth, and helped create, if not, didn't just help, but directed the creation of an underground, subterranean, labyrinthine, that is expansive, extensive, huge, big-ass motherfucking, huge, big-ass motherfucking, that's my impression of Samuel L. Jackson. Motherfucker. A big-ass, huge, underground, motherfucking city during ancient times using advanced alien technology in terms of architectural building, development, craftsmanship that cannot be duplicated by humans even today. No agency on this planet, DARPA, CIA, NSA, Russian intelligence services, Chinese intelligence services, any country on any continent, any empire currently in existence cannot duplicate the building structures that exist using tools on this timeline. Tools that currently exist on this timeline cannot create Darren Kuyu because no one knows how maybe one or a handful of humanoids that have been here for zillions of eons because they can keep antibiosis, they can keep antibiotically, they can keep regenerating themselves over and over again, and they just observe over zillions of eons the goings on of their creation on this planet, and they pretend like, they're like 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or like whatever age they want to be over and over again perpetually. They might know, and they probably do. So somebody may know, but 99% of the humanoid population doesn't know how the fuck Darren Kuyu was created, and can't recreate Darren Kuyu to this day. Ahura Mazda was said to have been behind the direction planning building of Darren Kuyu, and he flew around on a god's chariot, because he was considered godlike, because he'd come down from the heavens, and he flew around on some type of hoverboard, chariot, carriage-like, motorized, like Moltronic, molecular, electronic, some type of thing, craft that he would sit in, and he would hover around, and he would direct shit on planet Earth, like do this, do that, build this, build that, and people did, entities, beings did, and he knew some shit about what was about to go down. And so humans, humanoids, different beings, creatures went underground in these cities that were completely sustainable. And those beings were hiding from some other beings that were said to be coming into Earth's orbit, atmosphere, and down to Earth, looking for Ahura Mazda himself and perhaps others. So, steward, custodian of planet Earth. Ahura Mazda, you think he crash landed here? Or you think he knew about this place? Or both? Or you think he came here, didn't crash land, and was given some type of stewardship? Was given some type of custodian role? Steward, custodian of planet Earth. Scholars have said that he was a steward. He was a custodian. He was one of the gods sent down from the other gods to come to this earth to do whatever it was that he was tasked to do, that he was assigned to do. And this is real shit. So, stewards, custodians of this planet. Humans were put here for a reason. It's not random. It's not random. There's no randomness involved in it. And there's proof that human DNA, which on the surface, over millions of years, it appears to be linear, and that one can see how DNA supposedly evolves over time, and then some have said adapts, that it's not exactly evolution, but it's adaptation, and then others have argued that there is no adaptation and it's just merely evolution. Others have argued that there is only adaptation and there's no such thing as evolution. Again, the former have some argued that adaptation, evolution, adaptation, they're synonymous. They're merely fucking synonymous with one another. It's just a matter of semantics, that they're all really just one and the same. What I say to you is, despite those groups, those groups of thought, those various camps, those clans, those different individuals and groups that believe the aforesaid, the aforementioned, the preceding, I have knowledge that there are traces of DNA found to have leapt, in other words, gone from what appears to be an evolutionary process down a linear timeline to jumping to 10 million years of evolutionary processes overnight. So in other words, this DNA sample on classified file shows that in this same time period, the same era, the same time frame, within these samples, that this DNA next to this DNA, one DNA sample of humans being identical, one shows that it went from here to here, which looks normal, looks linear, looks like evolution, whereas another sample of that same DNA shows that it moved 10 million years overnight virtually as if something from the heavens above, from the stars, came down with a CRISPR system, motherfucker, came down with the CRISPR system and got to doing some lab shit, some laboratory Anunnaki, Sumerian, chariots of the god, Zachariah Sitchin type shit, okay? And started fucking manipulating some strands of DNA in the human genome, and presto changeo, voila, overnight, boom, bumped it up 10 million years of upgrade. Now, are you hip to are you hip to that? Do you know what I'm talking about? Do I sound cuckoo, Popeye? Grover, you're crazy, Grover. Well, then why is it declassified information, some of it, and why is it also known that part of it is still classified to this day? Motherfucker, oh, I'm so crazy, huh? Cuckoo, pop. Maybe you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about, dog. How about this? Let's take it a little step further. What you know about Eric von Däniken? Is he crazy too? Is he crazy? Is he cuckoo, Popeye? Yeah, it's funny how fucking humans in mainstream society think they know it all. Let's go back about 20 years, 25, when I was in high school-ish. Maybe it was 30, maybe it was 25, maybe it was longer than that, maybe it wasn't. But let's go back to when I was in high school. If I were to tell someone back then, hey man, did you know that in the time that we're on the internet? And they're like, the internet? What's that? And I'm like, well, you know, when all humans are globally linked via a computer network. So when well, hold on, Grover. Did you say globally linked computer systems? And I'm like, yeah, dog. So in the future, Grover, you're crazy, cuckoo, Popeye. And I'm like, so when we're all globally linked in the future via basically Star Trek Borg hive mind link, when we're all linked up neural networkly speaking, and we have the ability to manipulate DNA and gene edit babies when we're gene editing babies in the future. Grover, you're crazy. Grover over here is talking about some type of shit about making clone babies and manipulating human DNA and genomes. He's crazy, cuckoo. Grover's crazy. He's fucking crazy, cuckoo. Popeye, he's a fucking crazy lunatic. Grover's delusional. He's fucking crazy. Yeah. So, now that we've done that on this timeline, it really does it really does not cease to amaze me how even now, to this day, flash forward to when and where the world is globally linked via computers and neural networks, artificial and human organic, and we are gene editing babies. It is really fascinating and interesting, and again, does not cease to amaze me how stupid motherfuckers on this current timeline are still as absurdly, preposterously, ludicrously, close-minded, ignorant, dumb as fuck, in the dark, medieval, stone-aged, and as fucking rejected as humanly possible as ever before. They're just like, oh yeah, seeded this planet. Really, Grover? 10 million years of leapt human DNA code? Huh? You're fucking stupid. Really? That's not my intel. That's our U.S. government's intel, motherfucker. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure since you didn't know that, you'll go on, and even now that you know and it's right in your face, you give us proof, Grove. We want concrete, conclusive, definitive evidence. Show us, prove it. Well, I already did. And if you don't know how to do deeper research, i.e. Google it, if you don't know how to find the data, and you are someone who is still, a denier of reality? Grover, prove it. Show us, demonstrate. I want to see it. I want you to prove it. Show it to me. I'm from the fucking show it to me, prove it to me state. I won't believe it unless I see it. Just read the news, fool. Let's go on fucking line and look at the news feeds from your archival record system, i.e. Google.com. And you can see everything that I've been talking about. If you're fucking too stupid to be able to look up the information and find it, well, man, do I feel sorry for you? Kinda, but not really. It's a dichotomy, man. You know, it's like on one hand, you know, that it's pathetic that you don't already know this. And on the other hand, it's stupid of you to continue to deny the facts that are all around you. Just as back 25, 30, 40, however many years ago, it's been eons, zillions of them, that you were like, those of you who were like, Grover, you're crazy, the internet, there's no such thing as the global nexus of interlinked and interconnected computers where people will be able to talk to each other around the world at the speed of light on a light wave. You're stupid. Gene-edited babies. Grover's crazy. Cuckoo, Popeye. Right. So, stewards and custodians of this planet. We were seated here, and that made us stewards, custodians. That means we have a purpose to be here, to do things, to do stuff. And it's really interesting how what I've noticed is that despite all this technology that we have in the 21st century, which some call bleeding edge, leading edge, cutting edge, in that tier system of what constitutes the most superior, the middle tier, mid tier, like, you know, in between of the superiority levels. And then you have the less superior, inferior, nonetheless, like still like modern tech, right? Like cutting, maybe not leading or bleeding edge, but like still like high tech. It's really fucking interesting how it's a double-edged sword. That is, technology is a double-edged sword, as I said and stated and wrote in my undergraduate thesis. It's really interesting how you have some of the dumbest motherfucking people in all of human history on this timeline living right now, increasingly so because they're not using technology to increase their intelligence. They're some idiot, moron, imbecile, motherfuckers is using technology to dumb their asses down. To dumb themselves, i.e. their stupid ass motherfucking rejected selves down. What are they doing with technology? Are they Googling it to understand the difference, the nuance, the distinction, the differentiation between steward, custodian? Nah, man, they're looking up Ray J's sex tape. Who gives a fuck? They're looking up what's new with the Kardashians. You know, I gotta know about the Kardashians on a daily basis. You know, they're looking up, man, what's up, dog? I gotta get me 10 new pairs of Jordan jump-up boots because, dude, I'm all about Air Jordan. That's my gig, dog. I'm all about Air J's all day, every day, homie. You know, are they learning math and science? No. Are they learning how to sell drugs? Yes. Are they learning how to be pieces of shit? Yup. Let's see. Are they learning how to do emojis better than yesterday? Yes, they are. That's actually a good thing. But yo, man, I mean, it's obvious. I could go on with my dissertation, my treatise, and I can demonstrate and prove beyond a shadow reasonable doubt that it is clear. Technology is a double-edged sword. Technology also, by the way, Teflon, fiber optics, were provided to us humans by aliens who brought the technology to this planet. And if it were not for fiber optic technology, which is alien technology, i.e. alien technology, if it were not for fiber optics, we would not have the internet. In other words, the internet was technically created by way of alien technology. So this podcast was brought to you, has been brought to you, and is being disseminated, transmitted, delivered to you by way of alien technology. And I'm your boy, One Sir Grove, aka Dr. Grove. Oh, yeah, that's right. Grove is crazy. The internet, there's no such thing. 1990? Funny ass motherfuckers. Silly ass motherfuckers. And you have to admit, man, I've been right the whole entire time. One Sir Grove, OSGOE.